devil may care if I showed you around my heart. Would you mind if I shared to show you what's wrong with me? I will not change it. I will wait patiently while you get painted out.
I didn't even notice.
Welcome to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Fun show today, Gager. The Oilers coming off a dominant win, I'd say 5-1 over the Nashville Predators. It was a fun day yesterday down at Commonwealth Stadium.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
For the announcement of Chris Morris as the new president and CEO. Like always, you want to connect with us? Hit us up on the Nasty Chat on the EST YouTube channel. Watch us there as well. Text us 780-218-9999. If you're just doing the audio thing, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. And like always, we're coming to you live from the William Huff Studios here in the west end of the city. Gager, how you doing, man? Halloween?
It's Friday. I had an ordeal last night, buddy. I had a little bit of an ordeal. So,
Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose.
As you know, I have a young daughter who's talking about a Halloween party.
Okay.
I was under the impression the location of the party was going to be in a part of the city that was closer to mine and was easier accessible by vehicle, right?
Yeah.
So, and of course, I was going to drive her there, and the location of the party had moved, unbeknownst to me, and so asking your teenage daughter where you're going is very difficult at times. She said it's 20 minutes away. Essentially, we get in the car, I plug her phone in so I can hear the kind of GPS voice, and she says, all of a sudden, I'm closer to Spruce, and I'm in the south side of the city, and I'm like, where are we going? So we're going down. There's no lights. We're going back roads to this place. And I'm like, I'm getting a little bit scared because it's dark and it's late and I just want to go to bed. And we get to a spot and it's in the middle of nowhere. Literally Range Road and Township Road right on the corner. That's where she punched in the location. There's nothing. It's all dark. And I go, well, I can't really drop my daughter and her friend off there. And she puts in the other address. Then it tells us to go 25 kilometers the other direction.
Oh, wow. So
we go all the way to this other place. I'm darting in and out. And then finally she goes, okay, we finally get there. It looks like, you know, it's not kid and play party back in the 80s or anything like that. But I mean, there's something going, something going on in there. And they get out and she goes, okay, I'll see you later. I go, look, I'm not going home. So, cause I can't find this place again and I won't be able to find you. So go in, I'll just stay outside. So I see some kids and they're falling down and I'm kind of laughing. And I go and I think I'm going to have a nap. And what was great, I just tell them, I go, look, stay together.
Yeah.
Don't, if someone hands you a drink, make sure you can open it. If you go to the bathroom, go by yourself. All those parent things. The happiest time ever was they came out 5 minutes after and said, this party sucks. So we went home. But so I'm a little bit tired because it was an ordeal. I had to focus driving on those back roads. I don't know how guys do it, but no, the fun of having a teenage daughter, buddy, it's a lot.
I have a lot of questions.
I have a question quickly. So were the directions better or worse or as the same as Hernan's directions to you?
Oh, Hernan's way worse.
I sent you a map, man.
But late. That was a late map. And it was, at least with my daughter, she's 15.
Yeah.
You're 100. You have way more to blame than that one. That was tough. I can't believe we actually made it, Maddie. That was those were horrible directions. He treated us.
That was one of the quickest I've ever set up a show before because I didn't have time to get there sooner to set it up because of go to lot B.
And you're a professional. That's why it looks so good. Hey, at least we know where lot B is now.
Yeah.
I guess.
What 15-year-old has a party on a Thursday?
It's Halloween. No school today.
Oh,
What?
What?
I think it was a PD day for a lot of schools.
Good lucky kids.
Well, smart by teachers because if you can imagine, especially at the elementary level, all those kids hopped up on sugar all night and just I mean, they are basically useless the next day. Back in my day, that's when you'd get the TV rolled in with the VCR, and the teacher would have on sunglasses and fall asleep behind the desk there. But
Yeah, I love that you brought up Kid and Play. Did Gager have the high top fade like Kid and Play back in the day? Next, Bizuzu says.
I
used to love that movie. Oh,
no, I think I had more of I had loose curls, so it was more like you ever see that scene when you got off the couch in Coming to America?
Yeah.
Little Soul Glow. Yeah. That's how mine looked. I was Rick James more.
The fade Kid had was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. If you don't know what we're talking about, Google Kid and Play, and you'll see this fade.
That's really dating us if we wouldn't say that.
Yeah, we're old. I guess I should tell you what's coming up on the show. 120 highlights, lowlights. It's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be Oilers, and we're gonna go to that Thursday night football game, which had some interesting plays in it. 140, Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. We'll talk some Oilers and Elks with him. At 2:20, the Red Light District, as we couldn't do it yesterday because we were down on location at Commonwealth Stadium. And at 2:40, Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation to tee up the CFL playoffs that will go this weekend. Hartford Whalers, me and Tommy's, I don't know how we got on the topic of Hartford. Do you remember Peter Sidorkiewicz?
Yeah, the goalie.
Yeah, he was great. Eh?
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't great, but
No.
But like he looked great.
Good. It was a good kit. Very good kid on Sidorkiewicz. Yeah.
Mike Liut, Sean Burke.
I mean, Liut was with the kind of that mask, that white long mask. Yeah.
And he was a tall guy, right?
Yeah.
Lanky. He's an agent now, right?
I think Mike is. Yeah. Is Sean Burke still with? He was with, I think, Arizona before. I'm not sure where he's coaching.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. But when you think Hartford Whalers, who's the first player that comes to mind?
First person that I think of, the first one was actually Gordie Howe, but Ray Ferraro. It's I
Ray
played
Ferraro.
against.
Yeah,
I played against the Hartford Whalers. I got pulled after the first. Featherstone shot at. I tried to make some big kick save and I put it shelf on myself essentially. But I remembered because Brendan Shanahan scored a goal on me that game, and I think it was who's the God? I'm losing them. I'm just long week. Sorry, everybody. Yeah. TSN on the panel with Noodles.
Jeff O'Neill.
So O'Neill starts coming up the ice with the puck, and he'd been drafted or whatever, he's a first rounder and all this big talk. And I remember him skating, and I was just like, oh, I can see why you're a first rounder. I remember this thought in my head. He looks really good, and he cut across the blue line, and I was like, man, he's a good player. And he dropped it between his legs. I go, whoa! And then Shanahan just comes in and steps into one. Blows it right between my legs, and the most embarrassing. I looked like a men's league goalie because it came out back between my legs, and then I went down. Like it was awful, just awful. And Ron Lowe had about enough of me at that point, and then said, "Yeah, you're come on, you can have a seat."
Best NHL uniform of all time, right?
They were tight. Like I don't know. Detroit Red Wings are still the best.
Okay.
But when they are under the bright lights, that the green and white, it looked really good. They were in their away ones though, but it looked pretty tight, man.
Our boy Coobs just posted a picture with a UFC fighter. He looks so happy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's got the fist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen so many fist pumps behind that desk when we were talking the other day.
The thumbs up are pretty low right now, Gage. You're only at 16. How about we get 100 for Matthew Wanek, who's producing our show today? I think he did it the whole first week, which is really fun. Yeah,
that's right.
He's not too impressed having him to work with us.
It's been a busy week this week around here.
Like I was tired yesterday, man.
Yeah, no, that was the press conference that was awesome. Obviously, the Oilers not looking too Olympic. The injury to McDavid, and then you get last night's game. It's been a lot. F1 just had to get through free practice one.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, and it's only going to get more exciting for the green and gold. Let's start with the Oilers. An impressive win right from the first shift. Let's start with the Podkolzin punch to the forehead, though. Like, wow.
We were saying before that I can't remember the last time I really saw a one punch of a guy. And
he held him up so he wouldn't hit his head on the ice.
I was saying, I'm surprised he just didn't have holding a jersey there, right? It was lucky he was holding him up. Podkolzin looked very measured and calculated, and threw a bomb. Like it was just a perfectly placed punch. I don't want to say it's a bomb because it really doesn't have to be, but it was a perfectly placed punch with some anger behind it. Like he was aiming for the back of his head on that one.
Lawson, like he got the lawnmower going. He swung like 5 times.
Yeah.
And then Podkolzin kind of just, defended himself and then just one punched him. The second punch didn't really land, but it didn't need to. I was blown away, man. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, that was, and then to cause some damage too with the punch. You can see why he went down and stuff. And I was more worried just looking at him in the box and seeing him hold his hand.
Yeah.
Because when you see it, it was right on the forehead where he popped him, right? So
he was fine, though.
He was fine. It was good.
He was great. Emberson also dropped the mitts with a tough kid, and
did all right.
He did all right.
Yeah,
but good on
I
him.
wouldn't say anyone won or lost that one.
5-0 now when they win. When they fight. Sorry.
That's the weirdest stat I've ever heard. And so if you're in that dressing room before the game, that's where it becomes kind of funny, and guys are making jokes and stuff, and probably you'll have guys saying, "I got one tonight, boys. Don't worry, I got it."
Well, they're not talking about it. They're just like all in their minds are like, "Who's gonna drop the mitts tonight?"
Leave so and so for me tonight, boys.
But Colson's kind of coming in and being kind of like a Klim Kostin. I think Klim Kostin has more skill. He had a hell of a shot too. But like Klim Kostin took on some big boys.
He
when
did.
He was here.
I think Podkolzin gets around a little bit better though, don't you think?
He does. He's probably a better skater.
I mean, I didn't like. There was one of the first time. I mean, they made reference to it, but I didn't like the way that the goal was announced. Like Arvidsson's first goal, because the work that Podkolzin did on the wall to separate man from puck and get it to Leon, I thought that was way more impressive than even, Leon had great touch to give it to Arvidsson, and he was just a little sweep in at that point. But
That's
coming up on highlights, lowlights.
Is it? Okay.
Because
Sweet.
we talked about needing a good start, and you couldn't have started any better than they did yesterday. What did you make of the new guys? Noah Philp and Drake Kajula set up Corey Perry. Really good on the faceoff dot was Noah Philp. I think he took 14 draws, won 10 of them. Perry was trying to kind of feed them there at the end of the games if one of them can get a goal. But, I mean, both guys were good. It was great to see them get their points. Always great to see the family there for Noah Philp.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome. But I'd say the Oilers, everyone looked good. There wasn't one player I can sit here and say, he needs to be better. I thought there was moments in the game, a little sloppy, but for the most part, the Edmonton Oilers played a really good game.
And the play of Calvin Pickard, making sure that they have the lead going into the first intermission is huge. He made some really big saves. Like there were some tips, some screens that he battled through. Really, really good, solid game from Calvin Pickard. It was the Philp just in that's kind of the area that I was going to look for most was in the faceoff dot, right? How is he going to now going up against regular NHL faceoff guys? And he was great, man. And I really liked the fact that he was playing with two, although, Kajula wasn't in the NHL, but I think he's playing with him down in Baco anyway. And just have some of the familiarity with that. Plus having a veteran like Corey Perry just help, a little bit of insulation for him.
Yeah. It was, and Nashville again, I think Tommy and I brought it up, and taking nothing away from the Oilers' effort, Gager, Nashville didn't look good again.
If I'm the Nashville coach, I'm not starting Soros against Edmonton anymore. There's mind control over him because I've watched a little bit of Nashville play, and he is much better against other teams than he is against the Edmonton Oilers. They just have his number somehow, and I've played against teams that you just don't have a lot of success against, and sometimes you push a little bit too hard and not let the game come to you to a point. And that's enough for unless it's a playoff situation. That's the only time I'm putting Saros back in there, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's a good one because he's an excellent goalie. But
He's great, but
the Oilers have his number.
Yeah,
I think
Leon's got a 5-year lease on Saros right now.
Yeah, and then McCarron falls at the blue line, gives him like a break. It's a disaster. Lucas says, I love when Hernan says he's tired. I'm not being sarcastic. I actually like it. Whatever that means. Of course, also the EST Flyaway to LA, which is probably presented by the 780s, also coming up. We're over 30 thumbs up, which is good.
Love it.
And I think we said it'd do it for Matty Iwanek, and we got a good rush there. Let's keep it going. Let's hit at least 60 by hour one, and we'll do the EST Flyaway. We'll get another qualifier maybe before the second hour, Gage, because it is a busy show. But coming up next, we're going to get to highlights, lowlights with Gager, Matty, and myself. We have 2 clips to play for you, and we'll continue the Oilers and Elks talk here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, but with an update, sports update right now, here's Matthew Iwanek.
NHL Global Series action underway out in Helsinki as the Stars and the Panthers meet right now. Through 1, the Panthers have a 3-1 lead over the Stars, partly thanks to a goal from Alexander Barkov. It's one of 6 games in the NHL, which also features the Jets in Columbus and the Flames welcoming Jacob Markstrom and the Devils to town. Oilers, they're back in action Sunday in Calgary. Toronto Raptors, they host LeBron James and the LA Lakers. That's in one of 9 games in the association. CFL playoffs, they're underway tomorrow with the Argos hosting the Red Blacks in the East Semi and the Riders hosting the Lions out in the West. Max Verstappen, he's been given a 5-place grid penalty in Brazil for a 6th engine change. And soccer news, Manchester United have announced Ruben Amorim as their new head coach, replacing Erik ten Hag, who was sacked on Monday. Amorim will take over on November 11th once he's finished with his Portuguese side, Sporting FC. Up next, we continue with EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. I'm Matt Iwanek. You're up to date.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for 2, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers tip off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
It's 122. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. EST Afternoons, Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Matthew Iwanek. We're just ahead of highlights and lowlights coming up here. But Matty, quick question. You said, Man U has a new coach?
Ruben Amorin has been announced earlier today as the new manager, or a new head coach. They're calling him a head coach, not a manager, which is a little bit of a different change that's happening in soccer. When Liverpool announced Arne Slot as their new manager, he was also announced as a head coach, not a manager, which there is a distinction, the difference in that. They don't have as much control over the roster. They're more just in charge of the team.
And what's his story? Like, who is he? Who the hell is this guy?
Young guy, like 39. In charge of Sporting out in Portugal. Has been doing really well. He is considered one of the better, brightest young minds. This last summer, he was in the running for a few jobs. People didn't want to play the release clause to get him out of his contract to take him, which is soccer. You have to pay for someone's to open up their contract to grab him. United and Ineos, the people that run Mercedes, they are now part owners of Manchester United. So they were willing to pay that. Apparently a great young mind. But I've heard that a lot with Manchester United over the last number of years. And this manager cycle, I'm done. I'm not like gung ho. Let's go. I need to wait to see results. I was excited about the last few managers, and it never worked. So now it's a wait and see for me, at least.
Wasn't it going to be Ruud van Nistelrooy?
He's the interim. Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's the interim. They won 5-2 against Leicester in his first match as the interim this past week. So he'll take over the charge of the side until November 11th when Ruben comes and takes over and finishes up at Sporting.
I bought a Van Nistelrooy jersey back in the day.
Oh, did you?
When I was in Amsterdam, yeah.
I had FIFA 02, I think it was, and when I played as United, I think I had 96 goals one season with Van Nistelrooy. I would just send a through ball. He'd get past the defenders, and I would just score with him. It was a cheat code a little bit there. Great legend of Manchester United.
Holland, they should have won some World Cups in there. The teams that they had.
He always scored only tap-ins. He'd drive me crazy in the 91st minute. That's all he ever did with Man United. It drove me crazy. Quality though. I mean, you need to be able to finish, right? So, anyways, that's enough soccer talk for today, Maddie. Thank you for that. I had no idea who their coach was going to be, and
they moved quick. They fired their manager on Monday, and now they've already announced a new one. That's actually rather quick for Manchester United.
Just a quick update from the afternoon game in the NHL. Florida currently leads the Dallas Stars 3-2 in the second period. 16 minutes to go.
Oh, they scored. Okay,
Stars scored to start that period pretty quick. Then.
Nice.
Yeah. That's
Barkov's.
A minute 32 in, they got that second goal.
Barkov looks good in his hometown.
Yeah, he does. Good thing he was able to return.
Yeah.
And you two look good at that desk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't even know if I want to get to this, buddy. Maybe X-Ray J. It's Friday, man. Come on. What are you doing here?
It's National Calzone Day. Are you a calzone guy?
When I can get one, yeah.
They're good. Go to Panini's downtown by the stadium. Oh, man. Amazing.
Batiste? Is it what's that one called?
Royal Pizza does them too.
Do they?
Yeah, man.
I've never had a Royal Pizza calzone. What's a panzerotti?
Batista calzone.
Oh, Batista?
Batistas. 84th Street, 117th Ave. It's from the best in town
really?
You'll find. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it might be a calzone. I don't know.
I might have to get a calzone.
I think I'm going to go a little fancy. Well, not fancy. I think I'm going to go Nashville hot chicken sandwiches tonight for dinner.
Like homemade?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I defrosted some chicken breasts, so I got to slice those up, and maybe I'll do that. We'll see.
All right. I might have to get a calzone.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Matty, you a big calzone guy? You're half Italian.
Yeah, I'm fine with a calzone. I'm taking a pizza over a calzone any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to switch it up a bit. Because you
I don't think I could ever get sick of pizza.
Really?
Yep.
No, you can always change it. That's the thing.
You could change the toppings. You could go with
the crust.
A crust. You go with a deeper pizza versus a thin crust, or the fire style versus just like your Pizza Hut type pizza. You could always keep changing your pizzas. I don't think I could ever get sick of pizza.
My pizza place, which is probably 300 meters from my door, I feel guilty buying because they're local and they're super nice. Like every time I go in there, I'm hoping that they're a little bit mean to me, so I don't have to go there anymore. But they're so nice. And the one time I was walking there, and I thought, you know what, I'll just get a small one to take home for my kids.
Yeah.
But they were leaving, and I think it was like a Friday. And I went to walk in, and they were all walking out, and the looks on their faces were just distraught. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We ran out of everything. Like we're sold out right now. And they wanted to make me something. And I'm just like, Stop being so nice, so I have to come back because I feel like I have to get pizza from there. And they do have the Donair pizza from that place is ridiculously good.
Ooh, I'm not a big Donair pizza kind of guy.
Oh, I bring that in. Turn on, you're crushing this thing. But now, I can't believe, why are we talking about food all day? Now there's a Hawaiian poke bowl place across the street from that place now.
Oh.
So I've never had Hawaiian poke.
Justin of Bulgonia.
I've had the hoke poke.
Well, Justin of Bulgonia. Hernan is correct. Panini's downtown. Oranger Park is top notch for calzones. Seriously, you have to try it, guys.
My favorite pizza joint ever is opening up in Edmonton. I've been waiting for them to announce a date, and I've looked up on their Instagram, and they've actually just today, an hour ago, announced that it's opening tomorrow, and I'm so excited. Una Pizza and Wine. Unbelievable spot.
Really?
It's in Calgary. They're closing the Banff location also, and they announced that one, which makes me sad, but
Yeah.
best spot. I love it. Una Pizza. Oh, this is not good for my wallet.
No, it's not. Let's get to highlights, lowlights. Gage, I don't know if you watched the Thursday nighter in between the NHL game.
Not too much, no, but
there's
highlights.
The New York Jets started really slow. At one point, I think Rogers had 27 yards passing. There was one bizarre moment and just mind-boggling, and there was a great catch. We're going to see them both. But the first one is Jets receiver, Malachi Corley. He's running into the end zone. He drops the ball before getting in there, which turns into a touchback Houston ball. And then we're going to see the Garrett Wilson catch, Matty, correct? It's they're comparing it to the Odell Beckham
right
Jr.
I only have this one clip.
It's the same one, yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, just let it roll. And this is the catch, Gager.
That's just nasty.
Ridiculous. That saved their season. But look at this young guy here. Matty's going to play it again. If he can. There. Like, these young guys, man, they just...
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What? Why?
Like, look. Like, just...
And that was going to be his first?
I think so, yeah. His first career TD.
I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you want to hold on to that thing. It's like your first goal in the NHL. Whatever. It's arrogant. If I'm the coach, I am livid. I mean, if they lose that game, right?
Yeah.
It
was over. Because with their new coach, they lost.
Know, but if it's in a situation that they lose that game because of something stupid.
Of that? Yeah.
Like,
that was ridiculous.
I just can't.
And then he's on the sidelines, and I know, like, some of the players, I don't know if they were chirping him, but they were saying, you started smiling. I'm like, bro, don't smile, man. You just cost your team.
That's the time when you just keep your helmet on, I think, and just... You show a little bit of remorse over that stuff because it's. But
at that point in the game, like I think
know.
Even the commentators were like, without saying it, they're pretty much this is New York Jets football. Like, they just find creative ways to kind of, shoot themselves in the foot. But it was so funny. Just because I'm not a Jets fan, so I don't really care. But I'm also disappointed in the Houston Texans, man. Like that, this is my Super Bowl pick, and they're not playing very good football right now. I know they lost Stephon Diggs for the rest of the season, but they still got elite playmakers.
I read a thing about Aaron Rodgers that was kind of interesting. That he hasn't thrown over 300 yards in years.
I wonder if he did yet. Yeah,
I don't think he did last night either, because that's why it popped up.
That team, man.
I don't. When he misses a pass and he's got, I don't know, maybe it's just me internally. I see his face. It always looks like when things aren't going well, he's upset at someone else. It's never his fault. Look, there's something to that, to being that confident, but it's also you're an elder statesman of that team. You're supposed to bring along, part of the thing of him going to the Jets too, I think, was to try to build what we've been talking about is a winning culture.
Yeah.
Not a whining culture.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good he is for the team, because he seems to me just from the outside looking in, just a real selfish player.
Oh, 100%. 100%. We'll get to, and then we're going to finish off highlights, lowlights. It's after the Monday game. It was pretty negative on highlights, lowlights with all the goals Columbus scored on the Edmonton Oilers, a disinterested team. But one of the keys to the game for Matty Cassie, and I think all of us, was how are you going to respond after such a bad game? Your first game without Connor McDavid officially. and we all said they need a quick start. I'm so intrigued to see how this team starts. And all it took was 37 seconds in. It's going to start. It started in with a dump in right off Saros that he kind of played it. I think he was a little surprised, but this is just right after that. And it's just great play from the three forwards here. And we'll watch it right now. Podkolzin steals the puck. Great play. You brought that up there, Gager.
That was the biggest to me. I mean, there was a little bit of a bobble, but usually there's bobbles because you're feeling forced to do something, right? And I thought this was just an unbelievable play. Recognition that from Podkolzin, because he changes he's about to go straight up on the back check, right? But he realizes he sees a bit of a bobble, and then he just attacks. Great pass out of the way, and then Leon being Leon, and finally Victor Arvidsson gets on the board. But I just think this play doesn't happen without good puck pursuit and recognition in the offensive zone. And I've mentioned about this. I think the Oilers, Podkolzin hasn't been here for a long period of time, but this is a part in years past where I think the Oilers have really excelled is getting those turnovers in the offensive zone like this and creating pressure. You always say that the biggest thing, I think, what people have been saying are the Oilers slow, and no, they're just not executing at a higher level. And you see that's execution, recognizing an opportunity to create a turnover and get a really good offensive scoring chance.
And right off the bang, 37 seconds in. It's funny because when it went to Draisaitl, I was like, shoot!
Oh, I know.
Who am I to tell Leon Draisaitl?
Yeah.
And then he finds Arvidsson backdoor, who forehand to backhand, took his
he's got
time.
so
and
much
it was
time.
great. And you saw the Selly there. He was pretty pumped. It was great to see Hyman and Arvidsson get off the schneid.
Well, especially Arvidsson being back in Nashville too, right?
And then you saw, he scored the fifth goal, Hyman, but you saw the relief and kind of he was almost angry, it's about damn time.
Well, I think that's a big goal for Hyman for a few reasons. It's a mano-a-mano against, a really good NHL goaltender. It's not a tap-in. He had to do something special. I believe it was Nurse that passed that puck. Was it not to Hyman? That was a great pass.
It was.
Unreal pass. So
and it was Ekholm to Draisaitl for when he got by Brady Shea there.
Ekholm was nasty last night. He was pretty vicious against his old team.
He was. He threw some big hits. He had some really weird. Me and Tommy were kind of giggling because he had 3 passes where he almost took his own forward's head off. And we were just because you're not used to Matthias Ekholm kind of give those passes, right? So that was a hell of a first shift. It set the tone. I know they came back and scored right away, but it just never felt that they were in trouble. Because if you look at the goal Nashville scored, Brett Kulak can shoot it pretty much anywhere, and he decides to shoot it off Connor Brown's back. It was just, and Kulak's usually reliable, and that was just a bad play by Brett Kulak that led to the goal.
Yeah, and Reed and I were talking about, or I think it was Jay that asked me about it, and a lot of times, especially on the PK, you're the eyes for a lot of your defensemen, right? If there's a turnover, especially behind the net, most of the time you would see just a quick ring. There was one, Janmark messed it up and they scored right away too, right? So at points, the goalie will be yelling probably middle, if it's open, because they've just grabbed the puck, their head's down. They can take a quick glance to have a peek, but it did look like he kind of flubbed it a little bit. But there was an opening. I don't mind it. It's just, again, a little bit poor execution at that point.
Yeah, no, for sure. I see Kent Tilley's in the house. We do have DVD. Do you think Kent can do 2, or we can push Derek Van Diest to 2? What do you think, Gage?
Let's do. It's up to you, man.
Okay, let me see what DVD says, and maybe we can get him on at 2, and we'll bring Kent in for Financial Fridays. Have some laughs. Get his feedback on the Edmonton Oilers. A really poor game and then a really good one. So up next, Kent Tilley, Gager's boss and comedian from K4 Financial, coming up here on EST Afternoons. Just before we get to a break here, portion of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. The Canadian Ice House is taking your sports experience to a higher level of ultra cool. TrackMan golf simulators are now open at the Ice House, an immersive and realistic golfing experience in the heart of downtown Edmonton. Visit thecanadianicehhouse.com. Coming up next, Kent Tilley here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, and here's Matthew Wanick with a sports update.
NHL Global Series underway out in Helsinki as the Stars and the Panthers meet. Sam Reinhart extending the Panthers' lead to a 4-2 thanks to a shorthanded goal in the second. 9 minutes to go in the second frame. It's one of 6 games in the NHL, which will also feature the Jets in Columbus and the Flames welcoming Jacob Markstrom and the Devils to Calgary. Oilers, they're back in action Sunday for the Battle of Alberta down in Calgary. Toronto Raptors host LeBron and the LA Lakers. It's one of 9 games in the association. CFL playoffs are underway tomorrow with the Argos hosting the Red Blacks in the East Semi, and the Riders are home to the Lions out west. Max Verstappen has been given a 5-place grid penalty in Brazil for a 6th engine change. In Premier League news, Manchester United has announced Ruben Amorim as their new head coach, replacing Erik ten Hag, who was sacked on Monday. Amorim will officially take over November 11th once he's finished with his Portuguese side, Sporting FC. Up next, we continue on EST Afternoons. I'm Matt Awanek. You're up to date.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Book your holiday party at the CBH today. The Canadian Brewhouse is your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Visit and book now in-store or at the Canadian...
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk. Park Mazda, your dealer for life insurance.
Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. A little shift DVD at 2 o'clock as we're now joined here by our fairly regular contributor on Fridays, Gager's boss, K4 Financial, and comedian Kent Tilley. Kent, what's shaking on this Friday?
Oh, just surviving another week. Yeah, we're living large.
How was Halloween at the Kent Tilley household?
It was pretty good. I set the TV up on the porch and watched the game and had a couple beers and handed out candy. And my son went with some other friends and some other dads. So, yeah, it was good.
Nice. What did Leo go as this time?
Grim Reaper.
Wow.
Which kind of leads into what I think we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, let's get into what happened to you this week, Kent. It was very. I couldn't believe the pictures that you sent, and thought it might have been a joke first, but this was really happened.
Right. I think some people thought it was a joke. So Wednesday night, I was kind of getting ready for bed, but lights are still on in the house, and I was waiting for one of my cats to come inside, so my back door is open, and I hear some noise downstairs, and I'm like, that's certainly too loud to be a cat. And then I come in, and I look, and the first thing I see is the cat that was outside is inside, and I'm like, how the hell did you... But then I look up a little bit, and in my back hallway is a man. I don't know him, and so I yell at him, and he runs out my back door and off my deck and smashes my barbecue into my truck, and
I mean, we shouldn't be laughing.
And that was kind of that. I mean, I was pretty frightened. My son was sleeping upstairs. Thankfully, he didn't wake up because that would have freaked him out. And then the next day, I, realized that the guy before that had rummaged through my truck, and I don't think he took anything. I don't think he wants all the receipts in my. And then I pulled back up on my driveway, and there was a pretty giant, scary knife that he dropped when he fell off the deck, which kind of creeped me out a little bit more.
Smokes.
So, yeah, that was fun. And then the cops came the next day to talk to me, and I think all the neighbors are like, I don't know, this new guy in the neighborhood must be a drug dealer or whatever.
Oh, right.
They see Gage pulling up. They see the Gage pulling up in his G-Wagon,
The G does stand for just Gage. That's not an actual G-Wagon. That's
Gangsta.
We don't charge enough for us to have G-Wagons. That's for sure.
No.
Kent, the Oilers laid an egg on Monday. They look like Stanley Cup contenders yesterday. What did you make of the Oilers' 2 games this week so far?
Well, I didn't get to watch the Monday game. What was I doing? I just checking the score. Oh, Leo had power skating, and then I checked when he was getting undressed, and I was like, I'm not watching this game.
No.
Had heard about McDavid, so I went home and cried a little bit. But that sounds all right, I think. I mean, from the rumors, he was skating yesterday, which is obviously good, and I believe he's a robot that heals his own injuries somehow faster than normal human beings. And game last night was great. Like, they played well, I thought, from the first shift. It's nice to see. I mean, Nashville's a different one. It's weird. Remember, we used to lose to them no matter what.
All the time, yeah.
All the time.
Now we can't lose to them.
Yeah.
Like, Draisaitl just dominate. And then you get to remember, oh yeah, we do have basically the second best player on the planet, and he goes unnoticed sometimes because of Jesus.
So, do you think that? We've been talking about this for a long time on here. Is it good for Draisaitl to maybe just not have McDavid, where he can kind of assert himself as the big dog of the team for a little while?
And remind people how good he is?
I kind of like that part of it. Remind people, it's not just Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
And yesterday, you're right, they looked like a really good team. I heard some people complaining about the goaltending. I thought, 1 goal in 27 shots or whatever for our backups, pretty good. I don't know. That was just kind of what I think, but
that's what I was told. Mac T used to tell me that. I could never do it, but that's what he would have preferred.
What's the least amount of goals you let in an NHL game?
Oh, 1. I almost got a shutout a couple times, but
what was your first game? Wasn't it just a 1-goal game?
That was my first win.
Your first win,
2-1 against the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
Well, and you were telling the story about your first play. And you got a point, and you're like, I'm going to be the greatest goalie in the NHL.
I really thought it was, I say, it was all Vezinas and Stanley Cups from there on in. Maybe sprinkle a heart. Possibly, but no, it didn't turn out that way. There's people will find anything to complain about with this team, but
or anything in general.
Yeah, right? and that too. Last night I thought Calvin Pickard, and it's different because you're going up against UC Saros too. He's a perennial Vezina candidate. You're to beat him, go up against him, and play better than him. That's huge. I think. Right?
No, totally. I mean, I think that's good for the team.
What'd you think about the? If anything, for security, a Podkolzin in your back foyer would have helped the other night too, right? With that.
I was ready to go. I didn't know he had a knife, right? And the crazy thing is, there's a cutting board right there, and I had one of my knives, a kitchen knife, but a kind of intense one, and a chisel right there because I was building like a hat rack that I saw. And so I was using this chisel, and I'm like, well, this guy had weapons at his disposal quicker than me. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll ramp up security a little bit.
Probably a good idea.
Unfortunately, I don't love the fact that, like I thought I lived in a pretty good neighborhood.
It is a nice neighborhood.
But, we have that corridor where we help that homeless guy. I paid him $20 in toonies to help us move a piece of furniture.
Yeah, the furniture weighed about 8,000 pounds, first of all. But I didn't know. I thought you actually knew this person, then realized he was homeless because he didn't have fingernails and his hands were all bloody. And
and just blood all over his pants. But he was strong.
Oh,
as
he was
hell.
Yeah, he was. This guy was crackhead strong. He lifted up the one side, and Sean and I, the other guy.
Right.
Part of it was we were laughing so hard because Kent just got this guy off the street to help us move, and I couldn't keep a straight face. It was terrible. But this guy lifted this thing like it was nothing.
Yeah, and he was like running our show, like, okay, on three.
He was full motivation. He was like a coach. He was a moving coach. It was great.
Like in his life before things went kind of wrong, he must have, been a mover or something.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, we had a good laugh, and we got that piece of furniture.
Oh, it fit like a glove after that. That was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, buddy. First of all,
of course.
That Leo's okay and stuff. We'll definitely set up some bear traps and Home Alone this thing if it happens again. But
that was the thing. We got to do the video next week of us chucking axes at mannequins or whatever.
Yeah.
Doing that.
We're gonna be full Israeli Spetsnaz or whatever, and do some home training, some self-defense. But no, I mean. Let's going to the financial side. One thing to protect you against uncontrollable events. Again, I'm glad about life insurance.
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird segue. Like let's get right into. I almost got in a car accident and almost died one time, and a friend of mine was like, "You need life insurance," and I was like, I do, but I have it. I sold it to myself, and one thing, one of the things about the life insurance industry is that, a lot of people buy it, but over 55% of the time, they're being sold extras within it, which is usually a UL policy, which basically just means that your advisor is generating 10 times the amount of commission for themselves and not actually putting you first. I've never sold a UL policy. They're very, unique to circumstances, but for the average person that's a parent that can't afford to not have an income, you can get life insurance and critical illness for very inexpensive rates. It's harder to get approved these days. Insurance companies are tightening up, but Gage just recently had a young father that passed away, still trying to get that paid out. Which it will. It was just under 2 years, so it's harder. I had a young dad that became a friend of mine that died in a car accident, and his family would have been in a lot of trouble because of that. And then CI is the big one. That's critical illness, and I counted the other day 11 policies that I've talked about to people, and I'm a terrible salesperson, so they didn't take it. And it would have paid out. And so what happens there is you just get a lump sum of cash if you get one of like 26, it's usually cancer, stroke, heart attack, things like that, but MS. And you just use that to sort of help support yourself and your family while you're trying to get treatment. Because financially, it's the same thing. Our friend Kathleen is dying. She's probably going to die this week, unfortunately. But it was too late by the time, and my age, 43, can happen to any of us, and we can get stabbed by a home invader at any time. And, so just a thought, something I think everybody should at least have a good conversation about.
Yeah, and these like life and obviously I hate talking about life insurance with clients or critical illness because usually it means something's gonna happen really bad to them for them to see any value in this, right? So, and yes, one of my clients did pass away rather quickly, and I find that now those discussions with people are a little bit easier for me because thank God we did something. With this guy. It's crazy. And like you said, the CI, a lot of people don't know about it. The one thing that people that I talk to about critical illness is they think that the money can only be used for a certain thing, right? But they can use it for a multitude of different things. So, I mean, depression is a big cause of people, and it's a little bit tougher to get covered that way, but I mean, if they need a hot tub or something like that, they can be used for any sort of...
I mean, if I got a really bad diagnosis, I would use all of the money to live it up. Right? And then I know, like, okay, then when I die, the life insurance pays out. My son's taken care of. Yeah. Right? And I mean, my ex, she broke her neck, which, you know, a lot of people don't know, and the first kind of 2 days was intense, obviously as hell, because you don't know if she's going to walk again and whatever. And you know, say what you want about our healthcare system and how it's going down the drain, but at the time, you know, that day she gets surgery like a day later and is walking the next morning.
Wow.
But I had a client that had broke the exact same vertebrae and he couldn't move anything except kind of his pinky.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like, oh my God, are we screwed? Like, what's going to happen? But then I really thought about it, and I was like, no, she's a teacher. She's got good disability insurance. We've got this. I don't have to worry about the money, because the last thing you want to worry about when you're dealing with an illness or an injury or whatever is, like, how are we going to pay our bills?
Yeah.
Do we have to do a GoFundMe? And it drives me bananas when 35-year-old parents get sick or pass away, and then there's a GoFundMe, and they need all this money because the family's screwed. And I'm like, for like $30 a month, that none of this would be necessary. You'd have way more than this GoFundMe. And then it's kind of a popularity contest. If you don't have a lot of friends,
it's
on Facebook, you're not going to get a big GoFundMe, or if it doesn't go viral or whatever. So, it's. In the circumstances where you couldn't get it, like Kathleen, fine, perfect. You know,
if you can't,
right. So,
and if you're, if you're looking just a review, sometimes, like you mentioned
the
before,
reviews, because you can just look at the garbage people have sold. I mean, the problem is people don't like being told they were sold something bad, so that's tough. So. But just to review and be like, I can free up $200 a month and get you more insurance. And, you know, we definitely don't want to break the bank. I know how expensive life is, right?
Yeah.
Like, now I have to buy a security system. Now I have to fix my truck because it's, you know, I'm not going through insurance. Like, then they can double my premiums again next year.
Yeah.
So, you know, just unexpected hell all the time financially is amazing. So, you know, there is some protection from that end.
So contact Joaquin, right? Because last time you said you don't give out your info. Leave him alone. It's the weekend.
I'm available via email to say, okay, whatever, And that's just a robot answering.
Kent, great stuff like always on Financial Fridays. El Presidente says, I totally agree insurance is important. I almost lost my wife, and it helped tremendously that we had life insurance policies. On the flip side, what do you got coming up? Anything you want to share with our audience in terms of performances or anything like that?
No, not really. Just that 20th show on November 20th for my son's hockey team. Other than that, Sean and I are going to some small town in a couple months.
Sweet.
That I have no idea where it is. I like those ones. No, I'm not doing a ton of comedy lately. I feel like my stuff is just garbage. So like, you're like, used to be fun, and now I'm like, man, I am terrible at this. Like,
so, can't wait to go see it, Kent.
yeah, totally. I mean,
Tickets available.
The other people will be funny.
All right, Kent, thanks again for coming in on this Friday. Financial Fridays, Joaquin's boss, comedian Kent Tilley. You can find him at Kent Tilley on Twitter. Coming up next in the second hour, Derek Van Diest, the Red Light District, and Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation here on EST Afternoons with Joaquin Gage and Hernan Salas.
You can find.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
A&W has a deal for you. What's better than one A&W Mama Burger made with a perfectly seasoned grass-fed beef patty topped with pickles, a slice of onion, ketchup, mustard, and teen sauce served on a toasted sesame seed bun? 2 Mama Burgers for only $9.99. You can enjoy 2 of these delicious, mouth-watering Mama Burgers for only $9.99 at participating A&W restaurants in Edmonton, St. Albert, Sherwood Park, and Devon. What a deal! And to make it even more convenient for you, most A&W drive-thrus are open 24 hours.
NHL Global Series action underway out in Helsinki. Stars and Panthers are meeting, and through 40 minutes, it's Florida up 4-2 over Dallas. It's one of 6 games in the NHL today, which will also feature the Winnipeg Jets in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets, and the Calgary Flames welcoming Jacob Markstrom and the New Jersey Devils to town. Oilers, they're back in action Sunday as they head south to Calgary. Toronto Raptors host LeBron and the LA Lakers in one of 9 games in the association. CFL playoffs, they get going tomorrow with the Argos hosting the Red Blacks in the East Semi, while the Riders host the Lions out west. F1, Max Verstappen, he's been given a 5-place grid penalty for the Brazilian Grand Prix, which will take place on Sunday. This for a 6th engine change. And Manchester United has announced Ruben Amorim as their new head coach, replacing Erik ten Hag, who was sacked on Monday. Up next from NHL.com, Derek Van Diest joins Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. I'm Adam Wanek. You're up to date.
Hour 2 of EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, coming to you live from the William Huff Studios. If you'd like to connect with us, hit us up on the Nasty Chat on the YouTube channel or text us 780-218-9999. We're just ahead of Derek Van Diest from NHL.com, and also another qualifier for the EST Flyaway to LA. It's getting closer, Gager.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Can't wait for someone to be someone's plus one.
Can you take Gager with you? Please, please.
That's why I'm banking those vacation days.
All right. I don't know if Maddie gave us a thumbs up.
He gave us a thumbs up.
Okay. As we bring in Derek Van Diest, NHL.com, covering all the teams out here on the West. Derek, thank you for taking the time to join us. Let's start with the Edmonton Elks. Made some big news yesterday. You've covered local sports here for years. You know Chris Morris. What did you make of his presser, which was awesome? I thought he He had a lot of intensity, a lot of excitement. But what do you make of this hiring for the good old green and gold?
Well, I think it's a very good one. I think this is the same. He turned that U of A program around, made it extremely competitive. You look at where the program was when he took it over. Golden Bears had trouble winning a game. If they won 2 games or 3 games a season, that was a good season for the Golden Bears. Before Chris Morris got there, and he got there, and he went out, recruited, worked hard, brought in some good players, and really kind of turned that program around. And now they're an incredibly competitive program at that level. So I think if you look at him and what he's done, his football acumen, and he's played, he played with the Eskimos. He's been around the community. He knows the football community extremely well. I think this was a great hire. I think this was the guy probably should have been on top of the list. It's interesting because when they were talking about who they should bring in and who they should hire, I don't remember his name coming up. I don't remember anyone saying anything about his name. So he comes out of here, and it's basically, you have the most qualified guy in your backyard, and I think it's a great hire for. I covered those high school, those Bears football teams, and like I said, there was tough stretch there for a little while. They just couldn't get anything going. They couldn't recruit anybody. They couldn't compete with the Calgarys and Saskatchewans and Reginas. And now you look at them. They were basically should have won the league last year, and then they come back this year and they had a pretty strong team this year as well. So I think it's a really good hire. I liked him a lot. I dealt with him a lot. He's a very smart football guy, and you couldn't do much better in my opinion. Especially considering he's from the community, he knows the community, and he knows what people want. He knows people want a competitive football team out on the field, and he's going to garner that respect. And I think that's the first thing, first and foremost. And part of that U of A job is to go out and knock on doors and get sponsorships and things like that. So there is a business side to that U of A as well. It's not just coaching the football team; it's going up there and selling your program and telling people why your program you should sponsor that program. And it's going to be the same thing here with the Elks. He knows the business side of it. He knows the football side of it. You couldn't have found a better guy as far as I'm concerned.
DVD, when Larry Thompson took over, I think there was, there was rumblings, and I heard, and even myself a little bit, is this guy going to just hire old Elks, the old boys club and stuff? But seeing what the Elks have done, and with this hire, do you think it was more needed to have a guy that was part of the organization before, has made Edmonton his home? The bottom line, he wants this team to have success. Do you find it was necessary just to possibly get more interest back and looking at a lot of these things is he's already bought a lot of people back just with that press conference to get more butts in the seats.
Yeah, he has. And I think, it's a recognizable name. Like when they say Chris Morris, everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows what he's done. Everyone knows what he's accomplished. It helps, having that recognizable name. But I think this is a situation where the new owner was going to try and get the best people for the job. And he was fortunate that the best person was in his backyard. And I think he's a football fan. He knows football. He saw what Morris did with the U of A program, and it's going to help. And suddenly people Chris Morris, I know that name. I know who he is. I know what he's done. And I think that really helps. I don't know if it was important to find a local name, but I think he got fortunate that there was one. I think he wanted to look for the best person available. And it turns out, I think Chris Morris is the best person available. But I think you're right. In that name recognition, people are going to go, "Oh, yes, I know who Chris Morris is," and he wants to maintain that winning tradition here. That was here when he played. So I think it's a very good hire. But I think you're right. I think it does help that he has history with the club. He's embedded in the community. Has history with the community. He knows the community really well. I think it worked out really well for the Elks in this hire.
Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joining us here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. I almost said Joaquin Salas. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas.
That's our children.
Let's shift over to the ice, Derek. You watched the Oilers play last night, and you compare it to what they saw on Monday. I think that's the biggest frustration in the city with the fan base is how can a team look so bad and then look so good without their captain? Because yesterday I thought as soon as the puck dropped, that team was not losing that game, led by Draisaitl on that first line.
Well, you know what that reminded me of, guys? You remember, the Sedin brothers in Vancouver had played together for so long, and then one of them went down. I couldn't tell them apart, but I can't remember if it was Henrik or Daniel. I think it was Henrik that went down for an extended period of time, and everyone said, "Oh, how is this going to affect Daniel now? Can Daniel play without his brother?" And he went and played 30 great games for the Canucks. Like, he kind of took over and said, "Hey, watch me. I can do it without my brother." And that's the sense I got last night. Even after that first shift, those guys were shot out of a cannon. We've been talking about the slow starts and them chasing games and them getting out. They were shot out of a cannon. That was a great first shift. They created 2 turnovers in the offensive zone on the first shift, and then they scored in the first shift. And I just thought Draisaitl was fired up. I thought he's looking at it and goes, okay, this is my opportunity to show that I can carry this team. I can be a leader. I can be the guy the team depends on when Connor's not here. He's always played second fiddle to Connor McDavid. He's always been the second banana. It's kind of like in Pittsburgh with Malkin and Crosby. When Crosby went down, Malkin stepped up and he filled that role. And I think you see that a lot in kind of like sidekick guys. Hey, I can fill that role. I can be the number one guy if you need me to do it. And I just got that sense. So we've seen it. We've seen it happen. We saw it happen with Pittsburgh when Crosby went down. Saw it happen when Henrik went down in Vancouver. And we're seeing it now. I expect this to really light a fire under Draisaitl, and he's going to really lead. And then he's going to drag everyone with him. And it was so good to see guys scoring, Arvidsson scoring, Hyman scoring, guys that are supposed to be really good supportive players coming to the forefront. And Chris Knobloch talked about this. He's like, this is going to be an opportunity now. We have 22 minutes here a night that we can spread out. More guys are going to get more ice time. It's about what they do with that ice time. And when you get that opportunity, it doesn't come along very much. You get the opportunity of extended ice time. You're going to say, I'm going to try and make the most of this. And so I'm not saying this is a good thing that Connor McDavid's down. It's not a good thing, but I do think that it will help in the long run with these other guys kind of pull up their socks and get their game going. And I thought, yeah, it's one of their best efforts of the season without him in the lineup. They were fantastic from start to finish last night, and they need more efforts like that. But I really think that Leon Draisaitl is going to take it on himself and say, okay, you know what? Watch me. I can lead this team as well.
DVD, probably the only one prouder in that building aside from the Philp family was Bob Stauffer with young Philp. What did you make of his game, and how do you think that line fared with his first game in the NHL?
Well, there's 2 things that I know about Noah Philp. Watching him play with the Golden Bears and a little bit before that in junior, he can skate. And if you can skate, if you're an exceptional skater, you can play at the NHL level. And he's a very, very smart hockey player. He knows where to go. He knows where to be. And you can work with that. And I think those are his 2 biggest attributes, is that his hockey smarts, his hockey sense, and his ability to get there, and his ability to keep up, his ability to skate. And that's what made him such an effective player in the past. That's what made him such an effective player at the University of Alberta. And I think this is great. He had a great training camp. And the fact that he took off hockey, he left hockey for a year, was probably the reason he didn't make the team out of training camp, because I think the Oilers said, listen, this guy hasn't played in 18 months or whatever it's been. Let's get him some games. Let's get his feet wet. Let's get him his legs under him. And then if he does well, we'll bring him up here. But I think he's a fantastic player. And to be honest with you, this is a guy, to me, that's probably going to take Derek Ryan's place in the lineup, if not hasn't already. Just by the way he can play, he can be physical. He's a big guy. He can skate. And he's young, and he does all the things that the Oilers need. And we talked about the Oilers losing so many young players, so many quick players, so many fast players when they, let Broberg go, let Ryan go. They lost Holloway. They lost those guys. And I think this is a guy that they can interject energy into the team. He can interject speed into the team, and he's smart enough to play at this level. So everyone was really happy for him, because it's been a long time. It's been a tough road for him here in the last little while, but everyone's happy for him that he's back. And you're right. The Philp family was incredibly happy for this. And I think the team was as well, and they kind of rallied behind it. And I think they will. And you're talking about an injection of youth and enthusiasm, and I think he provides that.
Derek, looking between the pipes, Calvin Pickard with another solid game. He made some big saves last night. He's really coming in here and giving Coach Knobloch, he's making him play him more because it's just the way he's playing. He's been outstanding so far this season.
Well, he was outstanding last season too.
Yeah,
Remember, he was
was.
going to come up here for a couple of weeks and then go back to the minors, and they're going to bring Jack Campbell up, and they essentially played so well. They're like, we can't send this guy down. He's playing so well. He's coming in here, and he was playing from the edge of a cliff too, right? One bad game, they would have sent him back down to the American Hockey League, right? And so, that's not an easy thing to do, knowing that you can't even afford one bad game as you're the backup, especially when they already got the ticket to give you to go back to Bakersfield. So, I think he's kind of proven himself that he's a very, very good goaltender. He's been here for a while. He's a veteran guy, and I think he's proven himself. And I think, in a sense, Stuart Skinner's still the number one guy. He's going to be the number one guy, but I do think that there isn't a drop off. There isn't much of a drop off when you go and play Calvin Pickard, Stuart Skinner, and I think that'll earn him more starts. It'll earn him. He's got more confidence in the team now, and I think, he played extremely well last night. And it could be a situation. We were talking about a 50-30 split at the beginning of the year. Maybe it's now, maybe 35, maybe it's half. Like, who knows how he kind of fares? But if he gets on a roll here, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Knobloch said, "Hey, he's rolling. Let's just go with him for now. If he's playing really well, and if we can get a little bit of a streak going. Now that the Oilers are back to 500, now they got some teams to chase, and they got to put some wins together here, some win streaks together. So if he's playing well, why not give him the ball and let him run with it and see how it goes."
DVD, we've talked about it before, is the kind of the Stanley Cup hangover. Of course, all the players say, no, we've moved on. We're just talking about Noah Philp and Drake Caggiula, coming into the lineup. Do you think that can help? You got Caggiula, who's been in the NHL before, but really motivated to probably stay in the NHL. And Philp, lack of a better term, doesn't really know any better, wants to just become part of this team. Can that kind of exuberance kind of push the hangover back and see how these young guys are performing and just looking to play and be successful every night?
I think it can. I really do. I think they give it a jolt of enthusiasm, and I think it's always tougher. You get the Game 7 Stanley Cup final and lose. That's way tougher to get over than to celebrate all summer and win and then come back. And you see that with Florida. They played so well to come out of the gate. It's tough, and we talked to a lot of guys about it, and I've mentioned this a lot too. We've all played games that we lost, and you still kind of lament. It's always going to be there until you win. It's always going to be there. I'm still upset about that provincial semifinal that we lost 30 years ago, and probably I think I threw a couple of picks in that game, so I'm not impressed with that. It's always going to be there because I didn't get a chance to get back there. I didn't get a chance to get back into another provincial semifinal and win. So I think until the Oilers get back there and win, I think it's going to be there until that happens. But no, these guys coming in here, you're right. They weren't around. They don't have that. They're just excited to be here. Phelps is excited to play. He wants to be an NHL player. And Caggiula's been around. He's bounced around back and forth. He's a very serviceable player. He's a guy that you can move around, and I think that's the reason he's kind of stayed in this league. And I do think that both guys add speed to the lineup. And I think, to me, right, the very first thing that I notice is that when you're losing those guys, when you're losing the Fogle as well, throwing that mix, you become slower. They're the oldest team in the league now, but they got slower. And now these two guys gives them a little bit more energy, gives them a little bit more speed. And I think he needed that. And I think they're excited for especially Noah Philp. I think the team is excited for him. And he gives you a boost of adrenaline. And the Oilers needed that. And they looked last night like they were so happy for him. They were so happy. They're trying to get him the goal late in the game there. I think it was Perry had two wide open looks, right? And he's trying to slide the puck across Philp. He's got wide open net. Last minute, they're trying to get him the goal. So I think that just shows you, one, how much they like this kid, and two, how much his enthusiasm is infectious in that dressing room.
DVD, great stuff. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and we'll probably chat next week at some point.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joining us to talk some Elks and Oilers. Gager, always a great chat with DVD.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah, and did you know that portions of this hour are brought to you by the Canadian Ice House? The Canadian Ice House is taking your sports experience to a higher level of ultra cool. TrackMan golf simulators are now open at the Ice House, an immersive and realistic golfing experience in the heart of downtown Edmonton. Visit thecanadianicehouse.com. Have you ever done the simulators?
I've never done a golf sim.
Matty, have you?
I did a whole winter, every 2 weeks. Went with a buddy once.
Really?
Throughout the winter, did it. Got a little pass one place. It was fantastic. Just nice to get the swing going. It's nice to you know what I mean?
I know, it's just the way you said it, and you were just going. Focused.
Yeah. It was one of those, it was nice to just swing. Yeah. And, if you're looking to improve your game, like, it's not going to improve your chipping or wedge shots or putting is just not as the same or as fun. But it is a fun time. I enjoy doing it. And, the Ice House one is kind of not good for my wallet, maybe, because it's literally right there, and I haven't golfed all year. I might
a good way to learn? Maybe like swinging technique.
You want to know something? Actually, I'll say this. Here's why it would be a good way to learn. I think a lot of people go to golf courses and get a little worried because people are going to be watching them or people are going to be coming up on them.
Yeah.
You've got a booth to yourself. So, I think actually a good way to just slowly figure it out would be in a sim. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I'd be more interested, I think, just because I remember when I played in Germany. That's when Tiger Woods golf was huge.
Yeah.
And we played that for a ridiculous amount of time. But it's going to different courses because you can play, depending on where you go.
Yes. Well, with these like TrackMan technology and stuff, you can pay for or like play at like Bethpage and
Pinehurst, things like that.
Pinehurst. You can go to Pebble Beach. You can go to St. Andrews. So there's all sorts of different places that you can go and play. And it is fun doing that.
I think that would be neat, right?
It's cool.
Yeah.
My dream one day will be to, when I get a house, drop the 40 grand or whatever to do it right.
Yeah.
To get a full sim. And my buddy, though, out of town, he's putting one in his place. He sent me a picture this week, and I was like,
that's amazing.
It's only 30 for my F1 simulator, so I'm saving money.
I just put the extra 10 and combine them. Get both.
I saw a guy put in like a wall, like he put in all these monitors. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy, man. That's absolutely
It takes
crazy.
an hour to do 18 holes for a single individual. So if you're booking at the Ice House and there's two of you going 2 hours,
I like that because you're not
both do
rushed.
18.
There's not the Tiger Woods or whatever you wannabes.
No one's putting
rushing
quarters
you.
up on the screen and saying I'm next.
Yeah. So it's I kind of like that. I've golfed once. I'm terrible, but I wouldn't mind trying those.
No.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a date.
All right. We just set up a date, guys. The three of us.
Unreal.
All right. It's time for the keyword for the EST Flyaway to LA, which is proudly presented by the 780. 780 is a homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors from the 780 area code to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. 780-218-9999. And your keyword for the EST Flyaway to LA is locker. Locker. Text that in to 780-218-9999, and Matthew Wanick will select our next qualifier here on EST Afternoons. That's all coming up next, along with the Red Light District and Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. This is EST Afternoons on Edmonton Sports Talk. And right now, here is a sports update with Matthew Wanick.
NHL Global Series action underway out in Helsinki as the Stars and the Panthers are meeting. Partway through the third period, it's the Panthers who have a 5-2 lead over Dallas. It's one of 6 games in the NHL on this Friday, which also will feature the Winnipeg Jets in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. And the Calgary Flames home to Jacob Markstrom and the New Jersey Devils. The Oilers, they're back in action on Sunday as they head to Calgary. Toronto Raptors, they host LeBron James and the LA Lakers in one of 9 games in the association. CFL playoffs, they get going tomorrow with the Argos hosting the Red Blacks in the East Semi, while the Riders will play host to the Lions in the West. Max Verstappen has been given a 5-place grid penalty for the Brazilian Grand Prix, which will take place on Sunday. This for a 6th engine change. And Manchester United have announced Ruben Amorim as their new head coach, replacing Erik ten Hag, who was sacked on Monday. Up next, we continue with EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gage. Will be the Red Light District up next. I'm Adam Wanek. You're up to date.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for two, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers tip off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Joaquin.
You don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night.
Joaquin.
You don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right.
Joaquin.
You don't have to put on the red light.
Joaquin.
You don't have to put on the red light.
Joaquin. 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 All right. 226. EST Afternoons. Friday. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. Just ahead of our qualifier before we get to the Red Light District. Brought to you by...
No one yet. But if you're looking, contact Matt at Edmonton Sports Talk.
Yep. Hit up Matty you want because he's working on our qualifier. Then we'll get to the Red Light District. And then in the final segment, we'll get to Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation to tee up two exciting games in the CFL, man. Like that Sask BC game, I cannot wait.
Yeah, that is... And Dusty's on that one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see that.
And we're at 71 thumbs up. We should hit 100. We're only 29 away, guys. Ryan McLeod, in honor of Ryan McLeod.
Why do you have to break that
Oh, don't
up?
bring that up. He's got 4 goals, Hernan.
Yeah.
Oilers should have never traded him.
Oh, my gosh. No, that was... I think he ran out of runway here. Oh.
Yeah, and Phyllis has just
Ryan
joined
McLeod
us.
of the Clan McLeod.
So that means the WSTers, the Hustlerites, have joined us as well. Thank you, like always, for tuning in to the final 40 or 30 minutes of EST Afternoons. We've been talking a lot about the Oilers, the Go Elks. We did highlights, lowlights. We had Kent Tilley in, talking about his home invasion, also talking about life insurance. And
important. I know it's a sucky thing to talk about, but... And like Kent said, the biggest thing that I probably do is help people realize that they're paying too much for what they got too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. As we got our qualifier on the line, who are we speaking to?
Hey, it's Bones here.
Bones, good to hear you, man. How you doing on this Friday?
Just rocking and rolling. You take a lot to ruin a Friday after a big win like that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, congrats on qualifying, and if you do win, you'll get a flight for 2 to LA with hotel and rental car. You'll leave Boxing Day and return on the 30th of December. You would watch Clippers, Warriors, Rams, Cardinals, and the Edmonton ice hockey team in either LA or Anaheim. If you win this trip, Bones, who are you taking with you?
Well, I think it's between YouTube, Trev, and Zach right now. We'll see. I don't know.
Hey, listen, we love both guys, but I think Zach would be a hoot, man.
My gosh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, get enough room in the rental car that you can put him in the back.
Yeah. We'll find a way to send you with both, Bones, and then you got to document it all on video for us.
Well, they did have that, the thumb wrestling war and all that stuff. I think the outcome of that tournament might be who I pick. We'll see.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do next for that little face-off they do. Bones, best of luck. The grand prize will be given away on November 29th on the Nielsen Show. You can qualify up until the 28th of November, and your next chance to qualify would be on the Reed Wilkins Show today with Jay Milne. Bones, thanks so much, and best of luck, buddy.
You bet. Best of the weekend to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's get to, congrats to Bones.
Yeah, that's great.
Another qualifier for the EST Flyaway to LA, which is presented by the 780. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. Let's get to the Red Light District with Joaquin Gage.
Yeah, first, just thanks to all the WSTers in the nasty chat. Now they man, I just to say to you, I did watch a lot of that Winnipeg Detroit game from the other night. Winnipeg looks really good.
Amazing.
Even coming off the loss there, they're a very dominant team. You something to be happy about in Winnipeg for sure. Well, it's funny, for this red light district, I was kind of thrown off because obviously we were at the Commonwealth yesterday, and I was trying to think of what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about, because it was really making me angry, was people not picking up their dog poop in the pop-up dog park in Terwilliger. I stepped in some, and I was just livid. Like the bags are right there, but I'm not going to get into that because I got past it. But what I wanted to talk about is, and I alluded to it yesterday, is you only have one chance to make a good first impression, right? And looking at this is more Oilers oriented, and that's why I posed the question to DVD, was how do the Oilers kind of get out of this funk of going to the finals and losing it? And I know they've said there's not a huge hangover, but I think there is something there. That loss still hurts. When I might have been the only person seeing Connor McDavid not come back and think this is one of the best things for the Edmonton Oilers right now. Just to eliminate everything from last year. Your big dog's gone. There's another dog that barks on the Edmonton Oilers, and we saw what he was able to do last night with Leon Draisaitl. He is Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Predator, taking on the Predator and just smashing them with that big, I think it was a rock or a log that he eventually smashed him with. But Noah Philp, man, Drake Caggiula, I just think, man, this is such a great opportunity for those guys to come in and I know what it's like as you become a little bit older and you have those young guys come in that are just chomping at the bit? I
think so. Okay. Let us know, because the Nasty Chat has all the answers.
They do have the answers. But just, a couple racehorses that are just right in the starting gate, ready to be released. And I just think this lines up perfectly throughout the whole lineup, and a little bit, I think, Hernan, is the coaching staff too, because now you don't have, okay, where am I putting Connor, Leon, what's going, these guys that I have to lead us. Now you're looking for a full balanced attack. And I know that last night it got a little bit away from the Nashville Predators, and the Edmonton Oilers were able to roll through all their lines. But I mean, why wouldn't you? Even if the game was tight, I think you still had a great opportunity, just the way that those guys were playing, that you could have kept rolling with them. So the McDavid injury, 2 guys coming up, adding that youthfulness, that desire to be on the team, and adding a little bit more responsibilities throughout everyone else. I think it's great. And Noah Philp getting his first point, NHL point. He is it's great to have a newcomer come in
and steal
the show.
I love, like, I'm a sucker for watching the family's reaction. Like, that to me is the best. Like, the dad and the mom, and I think that was his fiance. Yeah, that was great. And a lot of Oilers fans.
It's his wife. I think it's his wife.
His wife, yeah. A lot of Oiler fans in Nashville, eh?
My wife, the game was on, and they showed Broadway, and she goes, you know what? I think I'd rather go to Nashville than Vegas. And I go, okay, that's fine by me. Yeah. It's a great place to go, and there's so much to do. It's the other Vegas, essentially. And with the sports, it's a great building to play in. The fans really get into it. So yeah, you can see why a lot of Oilers fans head to Nashville for games.
So VR Montenegro says champion at the bit. Lars says yes, chomping at the bit.
Chomping.
We haven't progressed anywhere.
No,
which
whatever.
one is it? And then Matt Hyman says champion.
I've never.
We need a tiebreaker here. I don't know what's going on. We got two different answers on. Is it chomping at the bit or champing at the bit?
I always thought it was chomping at the bit, like a horse chomping at the bit in its mouth, right?
Yeah,
ready to go.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't know.
Florida Panthers up 6-2.
No hangover there.
Holy smokes, what a wagon. And they're playing the Dallas Stars, man.
Yeah, and the first 5 minutes of that game I was able to watch, and it was high intensity. I can't like they were good placement of shots too. You know, like Barkov's goal rips it past. There were a couple deflections there. Ekblad, yeah, the Panthers, they haven't slowed down a bit.
They ain't messing around. That's what they're doing. They ain't messing around. They're holy smokes. That's going to be a scary team, Gager.
Well, you know what? A rematch would be pretty cool, I think.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
That'd be 3 straight appearances for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Tampa did it, though.
Tampa did it. Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so VR Montenegro says it's definitely champion. Hambone says chomping.
Hambone. I think you have to go with.
Does Maddie know?
Do I know what?
Is it chomping at the bit or champing at the bit?
Chomping at the bit, I'm pretty sure.
We keep getting different.
This is good. Lars, why? Beats me. I thought it was chomping too. 62 years of misinformation.
I think both might work. Both might work because according to Merriam-Webster.com, there's variants. So there's champing at the bit and there's chomping at the bit. And they say waiting in an impatient way to do something. And then the two sentences they provide, we've all been champing at the bit to get started on the project. The team was chomping at the bit for their chance to play the defending champs. So it seems like both are correct, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary. And I'm a big Merriam-Webster's fan. That Oxford stuff, garbage. Throw that away.
For you.
I'm a Merriam-Webster's fan through and through.
I didn't know what champing means. I thought it might be winning something, right? So, but it's gnawing excitingly. I was champing when those donuts came in. I guess that's what.
We're at 87 thumbs up. Sorry.
Well, I got a little more info.
Okay.
All right.
There's a whole NPR article on this from June of 2016. As they were trying to figure out Webster's dictionary. Again, I'm married.
Okay.
It does go with both. No, AP, the Associated Press says champ at the bit is the original and better form, but Webster's adds that chomp at the bit is a variation. So both work.
Yeah.
But AP, which is, I believe, the Associated Press as they're going with there, They say the better one is champion at the bit. But there's some American writers. We don't trust the Americans. They didn't even know how to spell neighbor.
Bronco Nick says, who the heck is Merriam-Webster anyway? Spency 5 cents, he says, this is blowing my mind right now. The things that you come up with on EST is just, I don't know, man.
I'm gonna switch for a bit. I think to the end of 2024, I'm gonna go champion. I'm gonna
champion at the bit.
Yeah, I'll make my decision.
I like chomping.
Officially at the start.
We're gonna have signing day with Joaquin Gage.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit here in the studio. We'll create 2 hats. One says chomping, one says champion. You're gonna put the hat on, whichever one you want.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I'm gonna take my talents to. Well, stay tuned.
All right, we got to get to a break here. We're at 88 thumbs up. We're only 12 away. We got 22 minutes.
Fantastic.
We can hit that. Let's do it for Matthew Wanek. Let's do it for Chris Morris. Let's do it for Noah Philp. Did you know he was a gold? Did you know he played for the Golden Bear?
Who?
Noah Philp.
Of course. I was wondering because now, when's the last time 3 Golden Bears played on the same team?
Did you know that, Matty?
I've heard. I heard rumblings of it. I also heard that. A broadcaster in town is the reason his career's whatever it is.
Yeah. That's quite amazing, man.
He didn't earn this.
No.
He was given it because of said broadcaster.
That's great.
Amazing.
Unreal.
2:39 on the other side of the break. We're hoping to connect with Justin Dunk. He's down in Sask. He was doing interviews and stuff. He'll be doing the Riders pre and post game shows there. They do a great job, but an exciting week in the CFL as we'll get the division semis, or whatever you want to call them. BC at Sask. Ottawa at Toronto. It's going to be a fun weekend of CFL football. That's coming up next here on EST Afternoons with Joaquin Gage and Hernan Salas. But here's Matthew Wanek with a sports update.
NHL Global Series action out in Helsinki. The Florida Panthers, they have a 6-2 lead over the Dallas Stars. That one with just over 5 minutes left in the third period. It's one of 6 games in the NHL, which will also feature tonight, which will also feature the Jets in Columbus and the Flames welcoming Jacob Markstrom and the Devils to Calgary. Oilers are back in action Sunday. They'll be champing at the bit to get going as they head to Calgary to take on the Flames. Toronto Raptors host LeBron James and the LA Lakers in one of 9 games in the association. While the players in the CFL, they're chomping at the bit to get their playoffs going. They gets going tomorrow with the Argos hosting the Red Blacks in the East Semi. Riders home to the Lions for the West. And F1 news, Max Verstappen has been given a 5-place grid penalty in Brazil for a 6th engine change. Up next from 3 Down Nation, Justin Dunk joins Hernan and Gager. I'm Matt Wanek. You're up to date.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
780 is just another lame-ass, low-budget local shop. Homegrown right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 1,000 local vendors from the 780 to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
2:42, final segment here of the week for EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Matthew Wanick producing today for Coob, who's down at the UFC facilities. I was going to say festivities. He looks like he's having a jolly good time for the big Coob.
Yeah, he's one big happy camper right now. It's like he had a bag full of those crap candies that he likes.
Oh, the candy corn. Someone brought those in today. I
Yeah.
don't know. What's wrong with these people? It's
gross.
Actually, they're really nice.
What?
I was enjoying them.
Stop.
Although they have that pork whatever in it. Pork gelatin.
Yeah.
Oh, pork gelatin?
That's what they're made. Like, that's one of the ingredients.
Sweet.
94 thumbs up. We can hit 6 in 17 minutes. Come on. Let's finish the week strong here. We're just ahead of Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation to talk some. I'm going to ask him about the Elks hiring of Chris Morris, which was fun.
Who you got? Who you got? First of all, I haven't asked you, actually.
I'm going to go Sask.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think they're going to I think BC's been so up and down since they brought Rourke back. I don't think they're just going to find their groove this weekend. I think Sask is going to be really good. And then I'm going Toronto. Ottawa has too many injuries. And I know we all don't like Chad Kelly, but I think he's going to lead him to victory there. And then Sask will go to Winnipeg for a hell of a showdown.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Isn't that the... Oh, no. That's a big game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Because Winnipeg always sells out, man.
Yeah.
Always.
And Saskatchewan travels well.
Oh, yeah.
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 They'll go anywhere for a Rough Rider games.
Those are the two best stadiums, Sask and Winnipeg, man. Oh, what facilities, man. It is truly, truly remarkable what they've done there. And, okay, we're ready for Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation. Justin, I know it's a busy day for you. How you doing down there in Sask there, getting ready for the big game?
Doing well, man. All the interviews are done. Prepping for the pregame show on 620 CKRM and Sports Cage on YouTube. Ready to roll. Playoff time, baby. Level up.
Yeah, let's go. Before we get to the games, big news here in Edmonton yesterday as it was officially announced that former Green and Gold great Chris Morris will become the new president and CEO of the team. In his presser, he brought the intensity, man, just like he did when he played. But what do you make of this hiring for the Green and Gold, Justin?
Fellas, let me tell you, I watched that press conference live, and I'm like, give me a helmet. I want to go back to the University of Guelph and play some football.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
That was, I'll say, the best performance I've seen from an executive in this league since I've been covering the league. I'm not that old. Okay, I don't want to age myself here, but it's been over a decade now. That was unbelievable. It was so refreshing to hear the honesty, to hear Chris Morris talk about actual financial details in terms of the money he raised with the University of Alberta Golden Bears. Talk about a real timeline, hiring a general manager and a head coach. Like, he's not playing around here. Mm-hmm. He's coming out here to bring this franchise back to respectability on the field and arguably more important off the field. That was unbelievable. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Well, yeah, Justin, I mean, I'm standing there with Hernan, and I'm getting goosebumps in that room. I look over, and Hernan's got a helmet on, and I go, "You got to put that back." Like, it was an amazing thing to be part of, and I'm glad that translated across the TV. But so now that they have, like, the biggest worry, I think, for a lot of people was, it was going to be is this an old boys club? But I think that press conference just ended all that. You've got a guy that, like you said, knows what it takes, has experience at the administration level. I'll ask you about if you have that crystal ball. Who do you think the short list would be for GMs next for the Edmonton Elks?
Boys, like, you guys had the scoop on Chris Morris. You guys don't have a short list? Trying to get it out of me?
We're just seeing if they match.
Before I publish it on 3downnation.com? Is that what you're trying to do?
Oh, boy.
I will say, based on people I've talked to around the league, it does sound like Ed Hervey could play into the mix here. Some people would call him a front runner for this general manager position because he played with Chris Morris during those 13 straight years that the Elks went to the playoffs. And I believe there was a Grey Cup or two in that time when Morris was there with Hervey. And then you look at the connection that Rick LaLusher, the interim and outgoing president at this point, has with Ed Hervey from their time with the BC Lions. I would think he would naturally be in the mix. Brendan Mahoney, an assistant GM with the Calgary Stampeders, is a guy that is from in and around the Edmonton area. Kyle Carson, an assistant GM from the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now, I believe is from Sherwood Park, if I have it right. So in and around the Edmonton area, I would imagine he would be in the mix. I would think naturally Chris Morris and the Elks might look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers if they get a chance to interview assistant general managers Ted Gavaya or Danny McManus. And I think there's a couple other names out there that, might potentially surprise some people that could be in the mix. I'll kind of leave those under the radar right now. But, obviously G-Roy Simon too is the interim GM. Didn't do a lot in season. There's only so much you can do, but I think kind of changed the culture a little bit there after Chris Jones left, and also had some nice tweaks to the roster to get the Elks pointed in the right direction. So I would think that would be the general group I would look at the moment.
Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation joining us here on EST Afternoons to close out the week. Justin, the quarterback, this might be a tough question for you because it's tough for us to answer, because until we know who the GM and probably the coach is going to be for the green and gold, like, what way do you go if you're the Elks? Because you have Trey Ford here, who's going to be a free agent. He showed, I think outside of the Winnipeg game, every game he played, he showed that he can be a quarterback in this league. Now, there's going to be ups and downs. He's a young quarterback, hasn't had a lot of reps in his first 3 years. But where would you go? Would you commit to Trey Ford, or would you go out again and try to get a high-price free agent at that position?
First and foremost, guys, and I'll get to the other quarterbacks in a second, but I'm quite frankly sick of hearing the BS around Trey Ford and that he needs to develop. This guy was 4-1 as a start of this year, has clearly improved from the pocket. And if he was an American quarterback who had done all the things that Trey Ford has done, would we be saying, oh no, he needs to develop more?
No, we wouldn't.
In this league.
Yeah. No, you're 100%
Exactly.
correct.
So, I just don't understand why this bogus narrative is out there about Trey Ford. And to be quite frank, I think it's because he's Canadian, and I'm sick of it. So let's leave that as it is, because I think Trey Ford, if he has the regime behind him, can be a guy with a lot of upside in this league. Like, some people have compared him to being a young Tracy Ham. And I use that comparison because Ham was an American and people thought he was going to be this great quarterback when he flashed those kind of skills. So I do believe Ford can be a guy. You're right. The regime is going to matter. Who the general manager and head coach is going to matter. If, let's say, it's not going to be Trey Ford for perhaps the reasons that the Elks decide, or Trey Ford decides, depending on who is in there and the coaching staff, because he wasn't treated well by Chris Jones, in my opinion, and some of the staff members there, then I would look at a guy like Davis Alexander. If the Montreal Alouettes do not figure something out with that dude, I would do whatever it would take to get him. Now, do I think Danny Machocha and Jason Moss want to let him go? The answer would be hell no, but he is a pending free agent. So from a speculation standpoint, I think that would make a lot of sense. Everybody's going to talk about the BC Lions, and Vernon Adams Jr. seems like it's the likely guy that could leave there, and would he be available? So, I think it's a possibility. You look at Jake Mayer, who's going to be a pending free agent. I think he would make a lot of sense coming to Saskatchewan and backing up Trevor Harris if Harris can get a contract extension done with the Riders. Corey Mace loves him. Jeremy O'Day loves him. I'm talking about Harris, that is. And Mayer would have the connection with Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator, who was in Calgary during his development time. So, outside of those guys, I think those are some of the names right there. You talk about McLeod Belton-Thompson being a pending free agent. Potentially he factors in there depending what happens with Trey Ford. And, it's kind of the list. Shea Patterson's a pending free agent too. But, unless something different happens in Hamilton with Bo Levi Mitchell coming off this 5,000 plus yard season and being an East Division nominee for the MOP, then I kind of see, those as the main options for Edmonton. To break it down more clearly, like Trey Ford, McLeod Bethel-Thompson, do you or don't you trade for Vernon Adams Jr., or see what happens with Davis Alexander?
Well, let's go to the big game on the weekend here with Lions Riders. How do you think, if things don't go to plan for the Lions, how long do you think that leash is on Vernon Adams Jr.?
Oh, boy, that is a great question. And I don't think that it would be too long, because we've seen Rick Campbell put other quarterbacks, Chase Bryce being one of them, when the Lions were here last time, on the field when he had a struggling quarterback. And we saw Vernon Adams Jr. on the field in a game earlier in the season when Nathan Rourke was struggling. I believe that was in Toronto. So, I don't think it's necessarily a long leash. And the major reason being, I think there's a lot of pressure that's not being talked about that is on this coaching staff in BC because of the money Amar Doman has not only spent on the roster and in marketing dollars to get, I don't know, Nathan Rourke back from the NFL and Matthew Betts. He's got this other thing that he's planning that's going on with the Grey Cup, and he really wanted his team to be in it. So there is a heck of a lot of pressure, whether the Lions are going to admit it or not. So I do believe that if you see Vernon Adams Jr. struggle out of the gate, throw an interception against this Riders defense that leads the league in turnovers force, then I don't want to say it's going to be a quick hook, but I think Rick Campbell's going to be thinking about it. And he's flat out admitting that he's got two quarterbacks that, a lot of teams around the league, Edmonton Elks have their hand up, would probably like to have.
Justin, looking at the two games, they're both going to be fantastic games, but put you on the spot here. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but when it's all said and done on Saturday, which two teams do you see being victorious here?
Yeah, I don't usually do this, but I'll do it for you, Hernan, because I like you so much. I got this feeling about, and I could be proven totally wrong, but the Ottawa Red Blacks. Yes, they're not dressing a true running back. And they released Raquel Armstead, who some people believe might actually be the best running back in the league at this moment, which is definitely a statement that can cause some debate. But I feel like Drew Brown is really hot, and he's saying his piss is hot right now. So if it stays hot, then I think Ottawa's got a chance, fellas. I just think everybody's, hyping up the Argos, but have they really been that good? Like, we're talking 6.5 points favorites going into this game. Like, I'm putting some money down on the Red Blacks on the spread, and I think there's some value on them on the money line. In the game, in the West semifinal, admittedly, I've covered the Riders all season long. Yeah. I know that team better than the BC Lions, but it comes down to me that what you're going to get from the Riders. They are going to play physical. Yeah. They're going to hit you in the mouth, down in and down out. They're going to run the football with AJ Ouellette and now Raquel Armstead on the roster together for the first time this season. We know Trevor Harris turns it up in the playoffs. He has been, I would say, the second best quarterback down the stretch in this league outside of Bo Levi Mitchell. And I think that the defense is going to force, at least a turnover or two and put the offense in a plus situation. You just don't know what you're going to see from the BC Lions. So, I was putting money down on it, which, a lot of people like to do on this. I think there's value on the Riders and value on the Red Blacks.
Yeah, no, that's great. We got to get going here, but I want to ask you one more question because we talked about it a lot down at Commonwealth Stadium yesterday with Dusty and Matty Iwanek and Joaquin. Your MOP, is it okay to select an MOP if that team did not go to the playoffs?
Man, this is a struggle I'm in right now. Like, that was my ballot is due on Saturday afternoon. Like, can you help me out here? I think it's
the wording. It's the wording.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because, even if the wording was MVP, can you have an MVP from a team that didn't make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Because you can in baseball. Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani were MVPs on Los Angeles Angels teams that did not make the playoffs. It's rare, but it does happen in professional sports. To be honest, Bo Levi Mitchell had a great season. He was the most outstanding quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
Should we just rename the award to most outstanding offensive player, most outstanding quarterback? Because that seems like where it's trending. I really, truly thought that Rowan Milligan Jr. should be in here. Brady Oliveira is a great player. And I've been on the record multiple times as saying Brady Oliveira should have been the most outstanding player 1 year ago. But he didn't even have as good a season in 2024. And everybody, it seems like, is anointing him as the MOP. I'm not saying he shouldn't win it. Great guy, unbelievable ambassador for the CFL, is probably going to win the MOP. And to be quite honest, he's probably going to get my vote because Bo Levi Mitchell's team did not make the playoffs. And I think when you're on a team with a poor defense, you end up throwing a little bit more, and that's part of the reason for those numbers. But I don't want to take anything away from Bo Levi Mitchell, who kind of shoved it in everybody's face and was happy to do it after he said he got his name dragged through the mud. So I think to be a little more clear about it, I'm leaning towards Brady Oliveira, and it would definitely help that his team made the playoffs and was first in the West.
Great stuff, Justin. Enjoy the games this weekend, and I'm sure we'll have you on here probably before the Grey Cup. All the best this weekend.
You bet, fellas. Enjoy the playoffs, baby. Level up.
All right, Justin Dunk, 3 Down Nation. That was a great interview. We got to get out as the Reed Wilkins Show is coming up with Jay Milne. Thank you to Derek Van Diest and Justin Dunk and Matthew Wanek for everything today. It's been a fun week. We hit 100 thumbs up. We're at 104. That's a consecutive streak of 5, Gager. Wow. Awesome week. Awesome news for the Elks. And we'll get more information here probably after the Grey Cup in terms of a GM. Oilers in action on Sunday. We'll be on with the All-Stream pregame show at 5 o'clock, followed by the postgame show. For Joaquin Gage, I'm Hernan Salas. Actually, sorry, for Matthew Wanek and Joaquin Gage, I'm Hernan Salas. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe out there. We'll chat Monday. Ciao.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website, edmontonsportstalk.com.